Honestly, I never thought I would be the girl living out a cliché, evil stepmother horror story, but here we are. My stepmother, let's call her Linda, didn't just try to ruin my wedding. She committed a felony to do it. To give you context, my biological mother passed away when I was 16. It was sudden, it was tragic, and it left a hole in my life that has never quite filled. Before she passed, she set aside a specific trust fund strictly for my future wedding. She wanted me to have the fairy tale day we used to talk about when I was a little girl playing dress up. Fast forward 10 years, my dad married Linda. Linda is difficult. She's the type of person who smiles with her mouth, but never her eyes. You know exactly the type. 1. Mean. When I got engaged to my fiancé, Mark, Linda insisted on helping with the planning. My dad, who is incredibly passive and just wants everyone to get along, begged me to let her be involved. He said it would bond us. Yeah, right. Against my better judgment, I agreed to let her handle the vendor coordination since she's a retired event planner. I thought, what's the worst that could happen? I gave her access to the wedding account to pay the deposits. The venue was my dream spot, a historic library downtown. We booked it 18 months in advance. Everything seemed perfect. Linda would show me receipts, she would talk about the floral arrangements, and she even cried when I found my dress. I actually started to think maybe I was wrong about her. Maybe she really did care. I was so stupid. The nightmare started 3 weeks before the wedding. I was at work when I got a call from a number I didn't recognize. It was the catering manager from the venue. He asked me, "Hi, we're just finalizing the staffing for next month, but we noticed the cancellation regarding the main hall and the move to the residential address hasn't been fully countersigned." I felt the blood drain from my face. I asked him to repeat that. He told me that 6 months ago, 6 months, Linda had called, acting as my proxy, and canceled the reservation for the historic library. She had told them we were scaling down to a intimate backyard gathering at her and my dad's house due to financial struggles. I felt like I was going to throw up. I asked about the deposit, the $40,000. He said, "Oh yes, the refund was processed to the card on file, minus the cancellation fee." I drove to my dad's house shaking with rage. I walked in, and Linda was sitting there drinking tea like nothing was wrong. I threw my phone on the table and screamed, "Where is the money, Linda?" My dad ran in looking terrified. She didn't even flinch. She looked me dead in the eye and said, "Oh, sweetie, I was going to tell you. We needed the money for the house renovations. Your dad works so hard, and honestly, spending that much on a party is just selfish." She had convinced herself that stealing my dead mother's money to remodel her kitchen was a moral victory. She actually thought I would just accept a backyard barbecue instead of the wedding my mother paid for. She told my dad, "See, she's being a bridezilla. She cares more about a building than our family comfort." I didn't scream anymore. I didn't cry. I went completely cold. That's when you know it's really over. I looked at my dad, waiting for him to step up, waiting for him to be horrified that his wife stole $40,000 from his daughter. But he just looked at his shoes and mumbled, "Linda, maybe we should have discussed this." That was it. That was the moment I realized I had no parents left. I turned around and walked out without saying another word. Linda yelled after me, "Don't expect us to host you if you're going to have an attitude." An attitude? Lady, you just committed grand larceny. I went straight to the police station. I had the bank records, the trust documents, and the statement from the venue. Because the amount was so high, it wasn't a civil dispute, it was a felony. The look on her face when the officers showed up at her door the next day, priceless. My dad called me begging to drop the charges, saying I was ruining Linda's life and humiliating the family. He said, "Can't we just work out a payment plan?" "No, Dad, we can't." I uninvited them both from the wedding. We managed to find a new venue last minute, a beautiful botanical garden, because the manager heard my story and gave us a massive discount. It wasn't the library, but it was drama-free. As for Linda, she's currently awaiting trial for fraud and theft. My dad is sleeping on my brother's couch because I think he finally realized who he married. So, Reddit, am I the asshole for sending my stepmom to jail instead of having a backyard barbecue? I don't think so.